Welcome to a still quarantine edition of Two Dudes and a Mexican. I'm your host, some dude named Victor Salazar. One of the screens here is some dude named Peter Soprano,
What up? What up?
and a resident Mexican, David, is at the beach.
Shit.
So while Dave's having fun in the sun, me and Pete are doing the hard work of Two Dudes and a
Exactly.
Mexican, as usual. As
Yep.
usual, I'm taking a
Uh-huh.
shot at you, David.
Yeah.
Hob, I don't even know if Hob's alive. Um, He might be, he might not be, but it
Could
is
be.
what it is.
Yeah.
Uh, as you can tell, I'm rocking my Arsenal shirt because that's the only sport that's really going on right now. Even though they suck, shout out to Arsenal. They play tomorrow. They'll
You
probably
bet on
lose,
them now?
but I haven't bet in a while. But as soon as DraftKings gives me a free bet, I'm all in. I'm back in. They have to give me a free bet first. I'm gonna make
I heard
money
there
off
was.
their money.
I heard there was like 7-1.
Well, Arsenal?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm about to. Oh, whoa, whoa. All right, let me check that. All right, anyways, being that only footy is going on right now, we got news yesterday, breaking news.
Yep.
MLB is finally back. The players, the owners, they agreed on a 60-game season
Mm-hmm.
with expanded playoffs, with a DH. I mean, this took way too long to get done, obviously. Obviously, Rob Manfred is, I don't know what he's doing. It's a shame because they should be playing already.
Yeah. Even though I'm gonna like the game season though,
Why you don't like the 60 game? I don't like it.
because you got to play hard every game. This isn't like you're
It's
playing
like
162 games. Like half of the season is boring. Like you don't care when the Yankees are playing against the Baltimore Orioles when they're up 40 games on them in the standings right there. Like
whoa,
this,
whoa, whoa. I do.
every game is gonna mean something.
I care. I care. I care about the Baltimore Orioles. I care about the Yankees when they play. For one, Camden Yards is a beautiful ballpark, and it's good to go see a game there.
Oh
And for
my
two,
gosh.
when Baltimore comes to play the Yankees, the tickets are the cheapest. So I care.
Exactly. Because they're
I
down
care.
40 games.
I don't care. I
Yeah,
mean, at least I
but
get
you won't
paid.
be able to do that. You won't be able to do that now.
I'm sure we'll be able to do that now. Well, who knows? We don't even know where they're gonna play yet. I mean, do we know where they're gonna play yet? Since you've been on top of this,
Right now, they're talking about actually playing in the normal areas
with fans or without fans?
without fans.
Oh well, then whatever. The 60 game don't matter to me, man.
See, the game's gonna be awesome. Though. You're gonna have every team has a chance. It's a sprint. There's no more
It's
marathon. It's gonna be a sprint.
the only thing I'll say about that is at least
Mets
Aaron
finally.
Boone Aaron Boone can pitch every reliever
Yep.
one inning for 60 games.
Every game. Every
So there's no need for starting pitching.
pretty much.
So Garrett Cole was signed for like $800 million a year, and he's not needed.
I hope this means, but honestly, I hope it actually goes the opposite way. Your starting pitcher most of the time is your best pitcher, other than the closer. So I'm hoping that this, because you don't have to pitch 33 times and start 33 games, and you're only going to start a couple games now. I'm hoping this means that the starters can go deeper and go 7, 8 innings, and then just the closer comes in. So I'm actually hoping it works out that way.
It's not going to work out that way because analytics says that's not how it works.
That's gonna be horrible.
No, I mean, I'm sure
And
there'll be.
you know what the funny part is? Dave isn't on the show today. He's the Met fan, and this is their best chance to win now.
Man, we don't talk about horrible teams on this show. We just don't do that. All right, especially when the man isn't here to defend himself and his team. You know what? Whatever, man. Just leave David out of this. Where's Hop? Where's Hop?
I don't know.
Maybe
I think he's on lockdown. I heard till September.
Well, he's on 6 month quarantine.
Yeah, he is.
Interesting. Well,
He worked. You know where he works, so he may be locked down from there.
Maybe. Well, 60 games.
Essential worker.
He's an essential worker. 60 games, Peter.
Yeah.
If you have something that's going to draw your interest from the 60-game season, what would it be?
Is that literally every team has to play hard? Is from start to finish. I think every team literally has a chance because there's teams that are normally can't withstand 162 games that they can get off to a hot start. I mean, Baltimore Orioles, we all know they aren't a good team, but if they start off the season 10-5, all right, now they're right in there, and a quarter of the season is done already. So I think it makes that everybody has a chance.
So both teams play hard. Is that what we're going with? Both teams
will play. No, both teams will play real hard now.
Both teams play hard.
Yeah, definitely.
What are your thoughts about the designated hitter now being in the National League? Ooh,
I hate it.
Yeah.
That's complete crap.
Chicks dig the long ball, baby.
Crap. Listen,
chicks dig the long ball, baby.
No. I can't believe the NL gave in on that. I know they would have. They were going to give in 2 years anyway, but that is complete crap. There is going to be hardly not as much managing now going on around baseball because you don't got to think about double switching. You don't got to think about when to finally pinch hit for the pitcher. You don't got to think about none of that stuff now. So now you got players that has to make 2 decisions a game. That's it.
You know, you remember the was it Dark Knight Returns or
Dark Rises,
or the one with Joker and Heath Ledger?
Yeah, the original one. Dark Knight.
Is it Dark Knight Returns? You know when he goes blah 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 blah. Because that's all I'm hearing from you right now, terrible. Peter. That's all I'm hearing from you right now.
It's horrible.
Blah 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 blah. Because you know what? Managers weren't managing anyway. Because the nerds upstairs are managing. The nerds upstairs are telling you what to do anyway. So this is what happened with baseball. We're all analytics. We're all this. We're all that. To make it easier on the nerds upstairs, they put in the DH. That's why there's a DH. That's my theory. Because the nerds upstairs can't manage double switches. The nerds upstairs can't manage, taking a pitcher on the third inning and figure out what to do with the rest of your pitching staff. The nerds can't manage that stuff, right? Because you act on gut and feel. But now you take that equation out and it's all right. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Remember what else the Joker said? To introduce a little bit of chaos. Where's the chaos now? There's no chaos.
What do you mean? There's plenty of chaos. There's going to be 16 to 13 games all day long, baby.
That's terrible.
There's no more double steals in the NL. There's no more hit and runs. There's no more bunting. Get rid of that old stuff, man.
That was already bad with how no teams are bunting and moving a runner over, and that's why teams that just hit home runs end up losing the playoffs.
Listen, man, I hate that there's a DH in the NL, to be honest with you. It's terrible. It's listen, don't get me wrong. I love the Edgar Martinez's of the world.
Yeah.
Even the David Ortiz's of the world, guys that made a living off being a designated hitter. But taking that away from the NL, and a lot of NL pitchers do like to hit, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, the managing obviously is going to be not as important, which I think owners wanted to do anyway because they don't want to pay these guys $4 or $5 million anymore.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, also take into consideration that it had to come because the players union wanted it to get that extra, that extra whatever position player for the NL, and you wanted to create the uniformity. But what I'm gonna miss if this is permanent is the actual World Series when, you play in the NL's backyard and pitchers got to hit. I mean, I'm gonna miss that if that's the case. I've always liked that. I always like seeing AL pitchers hit in National League ballparks, especially when it matters in the World Series.
Yep.
And I'm sure the analytics guys are like, we can't think of a possible number of how to make these pitchers better hitters in the AL. So we're gonna get rid of it. Let's just get rid of it.
We can't work with the pitchers that can actually hit over 200. So we can't deal with that.
And we can't work with the pitchers that don't hit at all.
And it was always also fun to see the DHs actually play the field. Like we've seen David Ortiz play first base. We've seen Edgar Martinez have to play third base. Like they actually had to play positions. Like it's not like they're not able to do it. It's just that there's an extra bat in the lineup.
Yeah. So I mean, that's for 2 years. I think it's going to be permanent, Pete. And
it will be. It will be. The funniest part about this is that this is actually a good thing for the Braves because they have some guys that can't field that are power hitters, and we always end up give up a lot of hits. I think we gave it the most hits to pitchers last year anyway, so it really doesn't. It actually benefits us probably, but it's just me being an old school guy that I like the pitcher having to hit.
I do like seeing the pitchers hit, not more in terms of seeing them strike out a lot and easy ground. I like seeing the pitchers hit home runs. That's something I'm gonna miss, especially the commercial.
Bumgarner, make it. Yeah.
CC used to hit. I mean, didn't Clayton Kershaw hit a home run one year too, or I don't
Yeah.
remember.
And then the greatest moment is when they had Big Man hit the home run from the
From the Mets?
Bartolo.
Oh, big. What do we call him? Big
Big
Sexy?
Sexy.
Oh my god.
He hit the home run, his hat fell off and everything like that. That was the moment of the year for pitchers. Everybody was like, "Oh wow, he actually hit one."
I can't believe people said I look like him. I look nothing like that
Oh
guy.
my god.
That was a joke on Twitter. Apparently, I look like him and I look like Gary Sanchez. I don't think I look like either person, but
Oh man, Bartolo, damn.
I mean, not weight wise, but face wise.
No, but I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. I can see more. I can see more to Gary Sanchez than to Bartolo.
I mean, if you can't tell, baby, the guns, they're coming back. Yeah, but you haven't seen me in like 12 months, Peter. So you should come up and pay me a visit and see the new Slender Mender Vigmatic.
Oh man, got
moving along. What does this mean for teams who built their season, who built their teams for 162 games, like based off the Powerball, based off the 3-run home run, which works. Again, these analytics guys work.
Yeah.
It works for a 162 game season because you're playing maybe 10 teams in your league that aren't any good, right?
Yeah.
Because it's usually only 5 or 6 good teams every year in your league. So 10 times, however many games, maybe 80 of your games are against teams that are really, really not that good if you're like an elite team. So what does it mean for a team that's built to beat up on these lower teams with the long ball? Now that it's only 60 games, and every game, and you're not playing the Baltimore Orioles 16 times. You're not playing the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of California, of the Western Hemisphere, of the world. 98, 40 times a year. I'm sorry, 18 times, and you're not playing the San Diego Padres 20 times. Like, what does that mean?
I think it hurts those teams that usually are used to running away with it and coasting for the rest of the season, because there will be no coasting this year. Like every year, you see 1 or 2 divisions where somebody wins about 10 games and they're just relaxing until they get into the playoffs. And you're not going to see that this year. You're going to see everybody pretty much have to play throughout to the last week of the season. Everybody's going to be pushing. And the way they set up the schedule, it's very division heavy. So you're playing your division pretty much for 2/3 of the season out of those 60 games. So it's going to be tough to run away with it when they could play you 6 times in the last 2 weeks and catch up automatically with those games. So it's going to make everybody have to push through the entire time, which will have effect in the playoffs, because that's when you may see people start to get a little tired because they've been pushing all year. And now you're going right into the playoffs. We got to see if people have the stamina to go all the way.
Well, I mean, they should have the stamina. If you prepare for a 162 game season, then I think an extra 20 games after 60 shouldn't be that much.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that you don't push hard for that 162 games. You don't play a schedule where you're going to play 20 games in a row of tough games. You usually play maybe 2 series, maybe 3 series in a row. That's 9 games in a row. Then you have a little break. You play a bad team. Then you go back playing maybe a tough team. You don't have this constant playing hard for 2 months straight. And that's what is going to be, I think it's going to be interesting, because like I said, pitchers may have to pitch a little bit more in that shorter period of time than they're used to playing in a 2-month period. It's going to look like a semi-playoff battle for those 60 games.
Are you in the back storage room of a kitchen? What's going on back there, bro?
Listen, this is my new sports room, damn it. I need air, I need a TV, and that's pretty much it. All
right, man. We need some posters. You need some, like the guys on ESPN.
Hey, I'm moving from you. Don't bother me about that shit.
Oh, that's right. You are moving. I'm sorry. Congratulations, by the way. If people don't know, Peter Clark is going to be a homeowner, knock on wood. And I'm coming to his house and eating all his food.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you gotta clean that up. What are you watching? Are you watching the X Games? You watching the X Games, dude?
Maybe. I don't know. It's on ESPN. I don't know. I don't know what ESPN.
Sorry, I had to make that observation. I don't have a cool as room as you do with the kitchen storage back there. So, all right, now we got the logistics out the way. Who do you think can capitalize on this 60-game season? Aside from the Mets, we're not gonna talk about them because Dave's not here. We don't talk about teams that we don't like when the other person isn't here.
Well, I think obviously the two teams that obviously are standing out is the Dodgers and Yankees because one, they were the two teams that were favored to win going into the year, and two, by the season getting delayed, the Yankees pitchers could get a little bit more healthier and their starters start coming back. So the Yankees and the Dodgers are by far the two favorites. After that, then I think you have to look at the Astros and the Braves. I think those are the four teams that should have been the best four teams last year. Things happened, Nats got hot, and they went through the NL. But I think those are the four teams that are still currently the best four teams in the two best in each league.
So in terms of like the favorites, you just said favorites, which we can't. But what team would? And again, we're not talking about the Mets. I don't care. Dave's not here. Dave's not here.
I'll give you a team. The Cincinnati Reds.
Give me a team that might not have been a factor had this been a 162 game season, but is now because it's a 60 game season.
There's two teams: the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates.
So both teams from NL Central. Interesting.
Yeah, both of those teams, especially Cincinnati Reds, they were very aggressive in the offseason with trying to add some players, and it made it look like they're trying to make a run, even though if we're playing 162 games, we were like, all right, they got some good players. They could be competitive, but they're not going to last throughout 162 games. Now that there's only 60 games, I think they can actually go for a run and scare a team. So being in the division with the Cubs, being in the division with the Brewers and all that, I still think that they have a legitimate chance in the 60 game to come out and beat both of those teams.
So both teams. You're also saying the Pirates. So that means that's another NL Central team.
Yeah, they're another young team, and I think the younger teams are going to have an advantage in this situation. Even though most people would probably rather say the older players, I think it's the younger players because the older players usually try to warm up throughout the season, get ready. They're on a normal schedule. The young guys just are probably going to use all their energy, go all out, and I think the younger teams are going to have an advantage, and the Pirates are one of those younger teams.
Keep going.
But other than the Pirates, I think the Braves, obviously, even though they're a favorite, they're another young team. I think between Acuna, between Albies, all their young pitching, I think that's going to help them. All the teams that are younger pitchers, you can go all out. Oh, we all know that there's a lot of times that you have a younger pitcher, you put them on a pitching innings limit, so they can't go 200 innings, or when they approach near 180 innings, they shut them down or slow them down. Now you can just let them go all the way they want to now. So I think teams that have younger pitchers that normally would shut them down earlier, they can let them go all out now.
Sorry about that. I didn't know my headphones were off, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't want to talk into the thing. You know, this whole new. I mean, we're not quarantined anymore per se, but we're still quarantined kind of. We can't really do anything else. A lot of the places we used to go to shoot aren't open, but this is the life. We're using Google Meet for the first time. I mean, I'm gonna say it ain't bad actually. It's pretty cool.
We'll see how it works. At least they aren't cutting us off in the middle of a conversation.
Well, you know, you gotta get Hobbs to pay for the Zoom Premium. Because again, I haven't seen Hav in 16 months, and I haven't seen him on a show in like 4 months. So, Hav, wherever you at, man?
He's gonna jump in out of nowhere, like, "Hey guys."
You know, there's privacy measures with these video calls, Hav. You don't have to show your face. You can block your camera. Just an FYI. I'm sorry. Being that we are again a short season, do you think the hatred towards the Astros and the kind of I was going to throw at you now goes out the window because we really don't got games to play with now? Like, do I want to put Jose Altuve on first, and try to hit him in the head, which might lead to a run in a game that might cost us down the road?
You really need, I do think that with all that's going on is that two things. One, the Astros don't have the fans in the crowd booing the hell out of them, so that's the first thing. Two, like you just said, every game is important. You don't just want to put guys on base, and they do have a good lineup, so that can kill you in a game. So those are the two main big factors that I just don't think you're going to see normally. And the third part is that the Boston Red Sox, right as everything closed down, that's when they put out the report about the Boston Red Sox cheating scandal. So they've gotten away completely scot-free. Like, nobody's talked about the Red Sox and what report got put out about them because it was right when everything shut down.
Oh, we're gonna talk about them. We are when this all kicks up. Oh yeah. Oh, don't think Justin, the sports team city that I can't stand is gonna get away from me. It's gonna get away from this show. It's not happening. You know, it's not happening in Boston. It's not happening in Red Sox. Trust me, we're gonna get at you when we get to the season. We're gonna get at you. So, if you had to predict the playoffs right now, what would that look like to you?
At ALCS and NLCS, I'm going to go with the Braves, Dodgers, and the Astros versus Yankees in a rematch. I think the Yankees will get to the World Series this time, and I actually think the Braves will be in the World Series. So I got Yankees versus Braves in the World Series.
Wow.
What do you think?
Wow. Man, I have no idea. To be honest with you,
Nobody has no idea. You might as well pick one.
I don't like this short season for the Yankees. I really don't. I mean, it's good that we'll get Paxton back. Obviously, Severino's not going to come back till next year, but it's good that maybe we'll get Hicks back, Haas' favorite player. It's good that the guys that were injured that weren't supposed to come back to June anyway might end up coming back in July.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign for the Yankees. Obviously, Garrett Cole has to be Garrett Cole. At the end of the day, he was the best pitcher in the American League last year, and he has to continue to do that if the Yankees are to do anything. So I'm going to say Yankees versus – I don't want to say the Astros. I don't think they make it this year. Oh, man, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I really have to put the Astros in?
If it's not the Astros, I'll go with a surprise team. If it's not the Astros, I'm going to say the Chicago White Sox.
I was going to say the White Sox too.
Because the White Sox are about one player away from being a real big contender, and in a short season, they may have enough.
You know what? I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go Yankees, White Sox. Why not? Let's roll the dice here. I think the Yankees make it to the World Series. I think the Dodgers beat the Cubs in the NLCS, and we get a Yankees-Dodgers World Series. And again, I have no idea because I'm not sure how this is going to be managed. But if Stephen A. Smith can make his prediction for the NBA Finals 3 years in advance, I can do mine in 3 months. In 3 months. So before we end this episode, Peter, I'm gonna ask you for a bold prediction. For this season, bold.
A bold prediction. Let me see. We are playing. I'm gonna say that Ronald Acuna will have a 25 home run season.
That's bold.
25 home runs in 60 games? That's on pace for 60.
Oh, Jesus. I forget.
Dude, that's on pace for 60.
I forget they were only playing 60 games. I forgot they were only playing 60 games.
Damn. I want the guy to kill himself.
My bad. Whoops. I forgot it was 60 games. I forgot it was only 60 games. My bold prediction is that someone will hit 400.
All right. I can see that.
But how do you see that though? If you only play 60 games, someone hits 400.
I'm not counting it.
What do you mean it's a season?
I'm not counting it. 60 games not counting it.
It's a season. It's not the player's fault. It's not Roger Maris'. It's not Roger Maris' fault. He had more games than Babe Ruth.
I would be more impressed if somebody could hit
450.
Hit 25 or 30 home runs than somebody hit 400. Because for 400, you can get hot real quick and die out. But to hit 25 home runs in 60 games, it's a hot streak, but that's a very long hot streak to do that.
Wow. So if Ronald Acuna hits 400, you're like, yo, that's trash, bro.
That's trash, but it don't count as a real 400 season.
That's messed up, but it'll be he hit 400 for the season.
With an asterisk, that's what I'll have.
What's the asterisk? Because don't you need a minimum 200 at bats or something like that? What's the stupid stat line?
I don't even know if they'll get 200 at bats in 60 games.
Or is it 150? If it's 150, you could get
150
200 at bats.
I mean, technically, if it meets the criteria, then you have to count it. But I'm not. It's going to be an asterisk by it, saying within 60 games.
It'd be good if we had an analytics stat man on the show to hit us with this, but we don't believe in analytics here. So
Tony Real.
Tony Reality, right? What did we mess up? Mailman, whatever he does. Well, I think someone's gonna hit 400, and it's probably not gonna count. And I really don't care because I think at the end of the day, what this pandemic has shown us is time to start trying new things. Like wrestling has done like the whole cinematic thing with some of their matches, and baseball is going to start with a guy on second in the extra innings.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what hockey's doing to kind of alleviate the problem.
There are many first rounds.
Yeah, that actually you're right, and then the NBA is going with whatever 22 teams, and then we'll get to 16 at some point, and then we'll.
And they go on a ride with Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Why are you taking shots at Mickey and Minnie, bro? That's messed up.
I'm taking shots at them. They're going on rides with them.
That's crazy.
They don't have to say they're going to Disney World if they win.
No, they just go down the street.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. That's insane. That's insane. We should have just ended with the bold prediction, and then we got off on this tangent. All right. We'll end with this. But go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Before we end this, I got a test off the topic question. The Knicks officially hired William Wesley, and I want to know what you think about actually hiring. Who is the guy? The Knicks hired William Wesley.
Who? Worldwide West.
They hired him today.
For what?
Is he going to be a top executive in the organization? So with him, the power he used to have. He pretty much had the ear of every single big star in the NBA. Now he's part of the Knicks organization, and I see now that you didn't know about it. What are your initial reactions?
Giannis 2021, baby! Woo! Yeah! Worldwide West on the Knicks.
He is part of the Knicks organization. Yes.
Yo, Giannis is coming. Giannis's brother's coming. What? Giannis's cousin.
Two star spots again. Salary cap.
Man, listen. I don't know what's gonna happen, but anything if they had Worldwide West is big, man. That's big. Yeah. That's big. I mean,
I like that hard.
If you ever get shouted out in a Jay-Z song, you're pretty big. And Worldwide West, Calipari, obviously the connection to Calipari is huge. Not that it matters for the Knicks in terms, but he has influence with players.
Every big star.
As a Knicks fan, I'm gonna hold my. Of course, obviously, I'm excited that whole Giannis thing.
Yeah.
But my heart's been broken before. LeBron's supposed to come. Durant was supposed to come.
Yeah.
We'll see. He's
got to take over. Once he takes over the reins from Dolan, and actually Dolan steps back and lets him take control, then it'll be huge. So I'll let him take control.
I'm assuming Dolan hired him because he's gonna let him take control. I don't think Worldwide West will come here to not have control. Like that just
be a puppet head. Yeah.
Be a puppet head. Damn, that's great news, Pete. I was gonna. All right. Anything else you wanted to add?
Now you can finish the show on that.
Dave, come back. Let's do a show. This was supposed to be only a baseball show, but we're gonna keep it only a baseball show. But thanks for sharing that news. And I'll leave you with this last question before we sign off. I disrespected the Mets' whole show, and I disrespected Dave, but I was only playing. Where do you see the Mets ending up this year in the 16-game season?
If they have their usual start of the season, they're going to be right there within 2 or 3 games of first place in their division.
So are they making it to the playoffs?
Well, I don't know how the expanded playoffs are going to work. I know they have 5, but are they going to have like 8 now? Or if they do have 8, because I think I saw it as 16 teams. If they do have 8, yes, they'll make the playoffs.
You're going to have 16 teams?
I think it said 16 teams for the playoffs. That's why I don't know if that's official, but that's what I had read.
Are you 16 teams?
Yeah. And I thought
why not even play a season then? Oh my God, that's half the league.
I said it's gonna be like playing for the 8th spot in the Eastern Conference. That's what it's gonna be like.
That's insane. All right. Well, Dave, I think the Mets have a solid pitching staff. Obviously, I know there's no Thor. I think for the whole season.
For the whole season.
You still have DeGrom, who's proven to be probably the best pitcher in baseball the last 2 years. You got Marcus Stroman. You know, who else they got? They have Mats. I mean, they have a solid core.
Yeah.
You have your superstar and Pete Alonso. You have Conforto. You know, you might get the Cuban sensation, Giannis Cespedes.
If he could stay off the horses and his ranch and whatever.
But I mean, I think it's gonna be fun. I think the 60-game season is gonna be fun. I know it's not 162 games. I know it's not 120 games. Obviously, everything that happens from here on out might have an asterisk to it, even if you win the championship. But if you win the championship and it's your team, you're not going to care. It's still a championship. So
you will not care.
That's pretty much it.
Let me ask you a quick question. If you had to put an exact amount of games that you think would be perfect for a normal regular baseball season, how many games would it be?
I do 124.
Yeah. I was thinking
124.
Yeah.
But you know they're not going to do that because
more games equals more money.
More games equals more money, and you know these records. You know, people still want Barry Bonds' home run thing to fall. It's never going to fall, obviously. But you know, you need all those games. So, but I'm down with a 124 game season. I'm cool with that. You'll keep the young kids involved. You'll keep them, you know, saying that the season's too long. Obviously, speeding up the game is a big deal, but I think shortening the season would also be a big deal.
That'd be huge. That'll get people involved for the whole season instead of just the start of the season and the end of the season.
So we'll see what happens, man. We should be back next week if Dave decides to stop going to the beach. He's not quarantining, obviously, so you know, I've seen a picture. He's not wearing a mask at the beach, so I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned. But if Dave is back, we'll have a show next week, and we'll get into all these topics and more. But that is our show, baseball edition of Two Dudes and a Mexican. I'm your host, Victor Salazar. That's my guy, Peter Soprano. We are out.
Peace.